Hello and welcome. This is Michele Christensen of One Noteworthy Life, and in this video I'm going to update you on my progress on this year's theme, which is Be Ready. Now, if you're new here or you haven't met me, I am a YouTube creator, I'm an avid OneNote fan, and I also host the largest OneNote group on Facebook, which is the OneNote Bullet Journal group. And you can also check out my blog and website at onenoteworthylife.com. Now, earlier this year, I picked a theme of Be Ready for this year, and I have an entire video on this theme, which I'll link to in the description. But in short, I want to take actions this year that will help me to feel more ready for whatever life brings to me. So that could be unexpected opportunities, it could be more travel or unexpected emergencies, just to feel generally more on top of everything in my life and to feel more ready for whatever life comes at me. Now, this year, instead of just picking the theme word like I've done in the past, I did a process where I really drilled down into specific actions that I could take in areas that would help me to really experience life differently and to feel more on top of everything. So let me show you the actions I've taken so far on this theme. So starting in January, I went through my business bank account and I categorized all of the transactions so that we would be ready for tax time. And now usually I do this right when we do our taxes, so I felt very good about doing this months ahead of time. I also zeroed out my personal inbox, email inbox, and so that's great. And even now, you know, a couple of months later, I've still managed to keep that below 5, so I feel pretty good about that. February. So February was more about things that I learned or realized. One is that when I try too hard to be efficient and bundle things together, it can actually make me less efficient. So an example of this was that I needed some minor repairs on both the kitchen sink and the bathroom sink. And I was trying to bundle all this together, but the issue is I needed to buy some supplies and some specialized little rubber washers and that kind of thing, and trying to get all the materials together and get a plumber here and make sure I have time to return things that weren't appropriate was proving to be too much of a timing and project issue. So I decided just to do the kitchen first, and it took a big job and made it into 2 much smaller, easier jobs. So efficiency is great, but not when it makes it, you know, really, really difficult to do the task. The second thing is that I realized that my indecision got in the way of me posting some videos. And I just kind of came to this realization recently that I guess I'm indecisive sometimes. Generally, for most of my life, I have felt pressure when I have an unmade decision, so I tend to make really fast decisions. But with my YouTube channel, the indecisiveness stemmed from feeling that if I didn't post the correct type of videos in the right sequence, that, you know, something would go wrong and I'd lose a bunch of subscribers and this, that, and the other. And so I was undecided, like, about posting what I wanted to post versus what I thought I should post and that kind of thing. And so it was just a matter of realizing it, and now I can act on that and make sure that that doesn't get in my way anymore. So March. In March, I made 2 food prep related changes. So one is I made a big batch of vegetable soup. Now, this may not sound like much, but one of the areas that I'm trying to do work ahead a little bit more in is in food prep. I want to do more like bulk and batch cooking and kind of always have things ready to eat in the fridge. And this was my really first time being successful with vegetable soup. And I know soup is supposed to be super easy, but for some reason I just have a really hard time making it. So I was excited to have the success, and I've got a soup recipe that I can follow now, and it's stuff that's easy to get and easy to use. So that was pretty exciting. I also make my own protein bars, and so I started prepping 2 batches at once. Because if you've ever done that where you doubled a recipe, you might have found, as I did, that it takes about maybe 10% more effort to make 2 batches of something as it does to make 1. So now I've got, you know, when I make one, I've got another one ready to be made in the next few days. So then the really big accomplishment in March was that I got my editorial calendar for April done around the middle of the month. And for a really long time, I would kind of plan my next month's content while I was doing like my monthly changeover. And the problem was, if I ever ran late with that, it would start to cause problems because, you know, each piece of content has to kind of fit into the schedule, and like a video takes a few days to prepare, and sometimes there's editing and things. So not having a master content calendar or schedule was really a problem. And so I've been gradually dialing back that time until now I get the editorial calendar done in the middle of the prior month. So that's kind of the actions, the specific things I've learned or done or realized or experienced that has happened in the last 3 months. But now on to the really important part of this, which is what has changed. Well, I've noticed 2 changes. One is that I am actively looking for small things that I can do ahead of time. So that's things like the 2 food prep items I mentioned. When there are things that we use a lot in our household, and I can only buy them at one store, I'll try and buy, at least more than one at a time. Trying to do things like paperwork and prep activities ahead of time. So if I'm going out first thing in the morning, I'll prep my bag the night before. And that's good. That's, just kind of a nice habit and thing to be looking out for. The big change, it was kind of like my first big aha moment since starting this process, was it was near the end of March, and I had a note to myself to start working on my April planning, and my mind formed a picture of doing both my personal planning and my editorial calendar, which is, my business and blog planning. And in my mind, very quickly, I felt like, oh, wow, that's a lot of work. I still have to do my whole, editorial calendar. And then in the very next moment, I was like, oh, wait, that's been done for like 10 days. And so that felt really awesome. And that moment was just a really big victory for me, because I was sitting there thinking about something that felt like a lot of work, and I felt kind of burdened by it. And then suddenly I realized, oh, that's already done. And that's the feeling I want more of. Like, that's why I'm pursuing this theme. So that was a really big victory. And it kind of was just proof that I'm moving in the right direction, and that's what I can get more of if I continue to work in this direction. So that's it. That is my first update on the theme of Be Ready. And my plan at this time is to post regular updates on this, on how this theme's working and what I've done and what I've learned and what I've noticed and changed and that kind of thing. And I have it in my mind that it's going to happen about every 3 months, but it's more important to me that each time I post an update, there's something substantive and valuable in that update rather than sticking to a strict schedule. But I'm planning on about every 3 months. There's a link in the description of this video to the Be Ready playlist so that you can watch all these videos in order if that's something that you want to do. So thank you so much for joining me on this video. And if you enjoyed it, please subscribe by hitting the subscribe button so that you can see more videos like this and on related topics. So things like OneNote tutorials and Plan With Me videos as well. Have a great day. Bye-bye.